What's our goal?
It's our goal to get to the playoffs.
Our goal is to be in the playoffs. Our goal is to just continue to be competing for a championship.
The Fever turning those goals into reality, officially clinching a playoff spot for the very first time since 2016. And we're hoping they're able to keep their hot streak alive as they start a 6-game homestand tipping off tonight.
Yeah, the Fever will tip off against the LA Sparks tonight at 7. We've got live team coverage for you tonight. Our Rich Nye is breaking down all the excitement here in downtown Indy. But let's begin with Dom, who's live inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Hey, Dom.
Hey guys, I got a fever and the only prescription is more Fever basketball. I'll save it from my Christopher Walken impression, but check these guys out. These guys are all ready to be in here. How much fun has this team been since the Olympic break? Now, like you said, it's official. This team's in the playoffs for the first time since 2016. And how did we get here? How about the dynamic duo of Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, both in the top 10 scoring in the WNBA. Mitchell, 7 straight games with 20-plus points, a franchise record. Caitlin Clark, all she's done is won Eastern Conference Player of the Month in the WNBA. These two make this team go. They've been averaging over 90 points per game since that Olympic break and really just having an offense that's difficult to guard. Playoffs were the goal when this thing started, lest we forget. Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull say this is great, but not so fast. There's more to be accomplished.
Clinching is always a good step, but it's more. We gotta go get more. It's more that we want to accomplish, and it's more that out there to get, and that's what I want. I think it's what my team wants too.
It feels a lot different. I think everyone can attest to that we're just having a lot of fun out there. I think it's fun to watch, it's fun to be on the court, it's fun to be on the bench, it's just fun to be part of this team and follow along this journey. And it's crazy to think that where we started the season, and I think, there were doubts from the fans, doubts from people that didn't know where we would go for the year, and to be where we are today, we're just really proud of ourselves.
What a difference a couple months makes. Over 500 for the first time since 2019. In the playoffs for the first time since 2016. The start of a 6-game homestand. Vibes are high. That woman right there is a big reason why. Kelsey Mitchell, we talked about her. This Fever team is clicking. They're in the 6th seed right now as it stands in the WNBA standings. They can get up to 4 or 3. There's no doubt about that. So tip off at 7 o'clock. Sparks and the Fever tonight on WALV. We'll have a full recap for you at 11. For now, though, let's send it out to Rich Nye with more of a bit of a shakeup in the Fever front office. Rich?
Yeah, Dom, the Fever fans are starting to make their way inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and those fans are coming from all over the country. And let's be honest, a majority are here to see Caitlin Clark. Let's take you inside the Fever team store. This was just 5 hours before tip-off at the Fever team store at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, a Wednesday afternoon, and the place was buzzing, the credit cards sliding in and out of all those machines. Team merchandise sales are up 700% year to year. And most of the people buying that number 22 gear. I talked to one couple from Florida who just discovered Caitlin earlier this season and decided to come see her in person.
It's not only her as a player that just is phenomenal. It's also her as a human being. You can just see in the way she carries herself that she's polite, she's courteous, she's kind.
Almost forgot. And check out Christine's fingernails, painted in Indiana Fever colors. She's all in, and why not with the way this team is playing. One Indiana Fever official told me today that the Fever have quickly become America's team. I don't think he's exaggerating.
I think you're right, Rich. Outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, thanks so much. And remember, we are your local TV home to watch the Fever. Tonight's game airs on MeTV. You can scan that QR code right now to learn how you can watch at home. You'll also find that info on WTHR.com/Fever. Tip-off, 7 o'clock.
It's so fun to see them all outside taking pictures in front of Gainbridge as they head in. It's warm out there. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s the next several hours. As folks head home this evening after the game, those numbers will drop into the 70s. Not nearly as cool as the last couple of mornings. Tomorrow morning we start the day in the low 60s, forecasting highs tomorrow afternoon, upper 80s.
Thanks so much, Angela. Tonight, an IMPD officer is in the Hendricks County Jail and now facing several child sex crime charges.
All of this comes less than 3 weeks after another IMPD officer was charged with crimes against children. Our Samantha Johnson tonight is looking into what we've learned.
IMPD officer Kamal Bola is spending the night inside the Hendricks County Jail without bond after Metro Police say a victim's family went to detectives on Tuesday Bola was interviewed, then arrested Tuesday night. He's now facing 3 preliminary counts of child molesting and public voyeurism. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey sharing in a statement today, quote, "These allegations against the officer are disturbing and entirely unacceptable." On Wednesday, Bola was suspended and stripped of all policing powers. I talked to a criminologist who studies just this, police allegedly committing crimes and what that can do for a community. He tells me, as you can imagine, an incident like this puts a black eye on the entire department.
Well, it erodes police legitimacy. People need to have faith in their police departments. They need to respect their police officers. And when we see a large number of these cases in a short period of time, it's troubling. Especially when you hear this is the 4th IMPD officer arrested on sex crimes just this year. Well, they need to be upfront. They need to be honest, and they need to recognize that they've got a problem and that they're dealing with the problem. Bola had worked as an IMPD patrol officer for 6 years, most recently working on the southwest side of town. We did request an in-person interview with IMPD since Bola's arrest, but we were referred to the department's statement instead. In Hendricks County, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
We learned today that jurors will not be allowed to hear about key evidence in the Delphi murders trial.
That ruling was announced just hours ago. This is a big blow to the defendant, Richard Allen, who's accused of killing 2 Delphi teenagers.
Our senior investigative reporter Bob Single joins us now to explain how this ruling will likely impact the trial. Bob?
Richard Allen's defense team insists investigators arrested the wrong man, and they say they have evidence to prove it. But today, the judge said much of that evidence cannot be introduced at trial. Just a few months after Richard Allen was arrested and charged with the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German, his public defenders developed a surprising defense. They said the teenagers were killed not by Allen, but as part of a ritualistic sacrifice committed by followers of a pagan religion called Odinism. Turns out, even state police investigated that same possibility. And an expert on ritualistic crime scene investigations recently testified photos from the Delphi crime scene show classic signs of an Odinistic sacrifice. But today, Judge Frances Gall ruled none of that evidence or information about alternate suspects can be heard by the jury. She said the defense team failed to show a clear link between Odinism, the alternate suspects, and the murders. The judge's ruling comes as a big surprise to attorneys and judges contacted by 13 News, including 13 News legal analyst Katie Jackson-Lindsay.
As a defense, you absolutely, if you have evidence or you have information that someone else is the bad actor, that someone else committed this crime, you have to be able to present that. So this ruling absolutely undercuts the opportunity to do that, and it's just not something that you see happen often. They are sitting on this evidence that they know is in existence, and they never get to allow the jury to see that. So absolutely, they're at a huge disadvantage in terms of representing their client.
This is just the latest ruling by Judge Gall against Allen and his defense team, and it raises questions about whether the state court of appeals might reverse the judge's decisions and order a new trial if Allen is convicted and decides to appeal. And for that reason, we expect Allen's defense team to still bring up the Odinism defense during the trial. If they do, the jury will be asked to leave the courtroom for that testimony while the defense gets the evidence on the record for an appeal that could come later. Allen's trial is scheduled to begin in 6 weeks. 13 News will be there. In the newsroom, I'm Bob Siegel, 13 Investigates.
Still ahead tonight, tragedy unfolding inside of a Georgia high school. A mass shooting kills 2 students and 2 teachers.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the timeline of this very violent attack. Angela.
Anne-Marie, rain chances return on Friday. I'll have the local analysis.
Countdown to tip-off. Our fever coverage just getting started right now. Here's another live look inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse right now.
We've got the 3 keys to victory tonight ahead at 6:20.